What's going on, everyone? Stocks with Kenny, and here today, the left keeps proving me right. Remember that video I talked about the Biden turn off most Americans? In the video, I had put it in there that I believe that speech was inciting violence. Now, people in my comment section, negative or not, were saying, "Hey, that's not true. Have you seen a Trump rally? All this stuff." I don't give a damn with none of this stuff because it seems like political violence only goes one way, and you make that distinction for yourself. Recently in Florida, a canvasser, I believe that's how you say it, for Marco Rubio was attacked brutally in Hialeah. And I used to live near there. Me and my wife used to live near there. And to see that happen is crazy. This is politically motivated. This is just my take. There's no proof. In the police reports, they are not investigating politics as a motivation for this attack. But I want to give you a little insert into this, and this will tie into my video of why do they hate conservatives so much, right? So last night, one of our canvaneers wearing a t-shirt and DeSantis hat was brutally attacked by 4 animals who told him Republicans weren't allowed in their neighborhood. Now, this is from Marco Rubio, from the victim that said this. He suffered internal bleeding and a broken jaw and will need facial reconstruction surgery. Doesn't that sound like fascism? I dare say, is that fascism? Oh, no, it happened to Republicans. Oh, okay, it's not that. Okay. The intolerant left. That's what they're called now to me. They're an intolerant left because they can't tolerate different opinions and they can't tolerate people actually advocating for their opposition, right? So here's the news report. Monday afternoon, Hialeah PD had arrested one man, Javier Lopez, for aggravated assault connected to the attack. The arrest report said one other person was involved, but that person attacked Lopez, not the victim. Probably trying to protect the guy. Say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing, kid?" Because the guy is 25 years old, the Javier guy. The report said Lopez blocked the sidewalk to prevent the Cavanier from passing in front of his residence. When the Cavanier crossed the street to avoid him, Lopez told him, "You can't pass by here. This is my neighborhood." Now, let's take our critical thinking hat and think, why would you stop a man and follow him when he crosses the street? He's wearing political stuff on him. That's in my head. That should be a no-brainer. Hey, we have to investigate. This might be politically motivated. This might be a politically motivated attack. Oh, the PD don't want to do it. Oh, okay. I wonder why. But let it have been. Let's say it was just me. Let's say I was walking in Hialeah because I go over there all the time because that's where my wife's family's from. Let's say if he stopped me, hey, you can't pass by here. This is my neighborhood. And all I had was this. Let's say I was wearing this. The Democrats would be like, "Oh, this is racism. This proves racism." I don't get how you don't put two together. But apparently he was arguing with the man and violence ensued. And this is the main issue I have with the Democratic Party. It seems like they want to grandstand, and this proves my case. All they care about is politically grandstanding because 84% of Americans do not agree with political violence. But the political violence always seems to go one way. Now, God forbid a Republican a Democrat canvasser got attacked like that, and we'll see how the reaction will be different. But I digress. I won't get into this video. I believe this is the best Prager U video, especially today in our midterms 2022. Let's take a look.
Why do you hate conservatives? Well, let's not say hate. Let's say dislike, because you don't really hate anyone. You may dislike them because they want to ban abortion. Conservatives say they're all for freedom, but when it comes to a woman's freedom to choose what she wants to do with her own body, they sing a different tune. You may dislike them because they oppress people of color and deny the fact that America is systemically racist.
And you notice how, like, already starting off, I'm already talking. But to me, this encapsulates exactly what leftists think. These people think they're so morally, so self-righteous that they literally believe that they have the best position possible. In my mind, I believe that a leftoid or whatever the political left is, they literally can't conceive in their mind that, hey, it could be possible that I might be wrong about this issue. No, it never crosses their mind. Never crosses their mind. That people can have a valid reason for why they disagree with their takes. But nah, if you don't agree with my emotional, manipulative, political rhetoric, then you're bad, you're evil. Because my main point for systematic racism is I always ask, okay, name me a right as a black person that I don't have that you have as a white person. White liberals are always stuck with that question. But there's no reason you should be able to disagree with this statement. Craziness. But you see how these people have an assumption of what a Republican conservatives are, and they make talking points based on their imagination of what a Republican is, or their imagination of what a conservative is, and they run around with this narrative. Craziness. And then this is how you justify attacking somebody because they happen to be in your neighborhood wearing all Republican advertisement on them, and you attack them because you believe, oh my God, they're promoting evil. Not in my neighborhood. We don't want you in our neighborhood. Don't come by my neighborhood. You see how this rhetoric is inciting violence? But if you call that out, no, you're over exaggerating. It was for another reason. The guy was a fascist. How you know he was a fascist? You can't know someone's a fascist just because they're wearing Republican stuff. Remember, the people that went on the January 6th riot, if you say all of them are fascists, they only represent 1% of the party. Because at the end of the day, there's 76 million voters that voted for Trump. And you're going to judge the entire voting base off of what 1% of the people did. How stupid is that? That's the dumbest argument I ever heard. Democrats always want to use exceptions to justify what they're doing. But I digress. Let's continue.
Conservatives say that everybody is equal regardless of race, and that racism has little to no effect on the daily lives of people of color.
I agree.
So they just ignore the issue altogether. You may dislike them because they don't believe in climate change. Scientists keep telling us we're overheating the planet, and conservatives don't seem to care. They're more concerned about profits than people. But what good is money if you have no planet to spend it on?
You see the narrative? Like, this is political rhetoric now. She's giving you what the left, we as conservatives or non-Democrats or non-leftists think. Yo, that's just rhetoric. Because at the end of the day, that's a claim. Okay, what proof do you have of your claim? Because last time I checked, conservatives are like, hey, we should still use nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is green energy. It's renewable. It doesn't emit any carbon emissions. What the climate changers do? They said, no, everything got to be electric. So you want something a specific way, but even if there's a valid alternative option, you still want us to do it this way? Why? To justify government spending. That's my take. But I digress. Let's continue with the video. I'm not trying to be here too long.
You may dislike them because they're obsessed with guns. How are we ever going to stop gun violence if we don't get guns off the streets? And how are we ever going to get guns off the streets if conservatives block every common sense gun law? You may dislike them because they're so intolerant. What's the harm of calling somebody by their preferred pronouns? Why can't conservatives just show some compassion instead of obsessing over every kind of behavior they don't like? You may dislike them because if they got their way, they'd get rid of democracy and establish an authoritarian theocracy.
Okay, I can't take this anymore. This is what I talk about. This is all political rhetoric she's giving you. I'm sorry I keep pausing, but it just keeps reiterating the point of, hey, don't let these people have your emotions, bro. Be skeptical of everybody. I agree. Don't just go along and follow narratives, because these narratives will lead you down a path that you don't want to be, because these people have a vision of who you are and what you're supposed to do, and they make arguments, they make assumptions, they do things based on that assumption, based on their imagination. Y'all have a vision, y'all visionaries, y'all like, oh, this is how democracy should be. And if it doesn't follow that vision of democracy, you think it's trying to get rid of democracy. When we're not even a democracy to begin with. We're a constitutional republic. We're a republic. They have democracy type angles to it. This is why your candidate doesn't win just because they have the popular vote. Because it doesn't matter if you have the popular vote in general. Because there's some states that have almost 10 times the population as another state. Wyoming got like what, 5,000 people maybe? California by itself got 10 million people in it. This is the biggest state in the union. And it's Democrat. So this is why I win most of the popular vote, because of California. If California was red, the Republicans will win the popular vote. You see how unfair that is? Just because you have a big state and happens to be blue, you get the popular vote, and we should all pick the president based on the popular vote. This is why I don't like that concept of them trying to abolish the electoral college.
Bye-bye separation of church and state. Hello fascism. After all that, you might sum up conservatives with one word. Ugh. If any of this resonates with you, I get it. I've been there. But, and this surprised me, I found they actually have reasons for thinking the way they do. Here are some of them.
And I'm gonna recall that should be common sense. You should not assume that no one has any reason for why they don't believe what they believe. Even if I disagree with you, saying, "Oh, I vote Democrat. I'm a liberal. I'm this." Even if I disagree with you, I know, hey, they probably have a valid reason for why they believe what they believe. But no, we don't get that same courtesy. As a non-Democrat, as a non-leftist, you don't get that courtesy. It's this, oh, you either follow the mob or you're against the mob. That's how they categorize you. They categorize you as narrow-minded, uneducated, unenlightened. If you're not in their side. That's how the left look at us. And they want to get mad when people are leaving their party. They want to get mad when Tulsi Gabbard leaves. If a moderate like Tulsi Gabbard, who disagrees with mostly what the Democrats do and whatever, right? If she can't stay in your party, does that make your party tolerant or intolerant? I'll wait. When Joe Manchin and Sinema was going against what the Democrats want, you saw how mad they were? Disagreements well. That's what the Democrat Party has shown. And how can you work with another party with ideas like that? That just for a simple majority, you believe you should cram in every legislation, every policy that you want, knowing damn well that half the country don't agree with what you're trying to push. To me, the Democrats are not the party of the moderates. I'm sorry. You could live in La La Land all you want, Democrats, lefties. Y'all not the party of the moderates. I digress.
On abortion. To start, we can agree that no one likes abortion. But there is a clear divide on the issue. Progressives focus their attention on the mother. Conservatives, while they have compassion for the mother, focus their attention on the baby. They see a human being growing in a mother's womb as innocent and vulnerable. Those babies deserve to be protected, since they obviously can't protect themselves. On racism, conservatives don't deny that racist people exist, but when it comes to the narrative of systemic racism, conservatives are unconvinced. Of course, there are disparities in this country, but why assume that these disparities are because of racism?
Or sexism, or whatever political thing you want to put in there, right? Because to me, a lot of this stems from personal decision making. Hey, statistically, like to me, stats don't prove a narrative. Stats just show you a result. That's all it did. Hey, 40% of black men kill each other more than than cops. So in my head, should I worry about police more or someone that look like me? Someone who look like me. And black people kill each other 5 times more than any other racial group within a racial group. Like crime within a racial group, they kill 5 times more. So that means I'm more likely to die at the hands of someone that looks like me than someone from another race. But I'm supposed to worry about white supremacy. Like, that's the results. You can't argue with the results. You have a theory. Hey, America's systemically racist. I come in as a skeptic and say, okay, prove it. How is it systemically racist? Oh, look at all this historical. That don't have nothing to do with me. Tell me how it's affecting me right now. You can't tell me. You can't even give me a law that targets me just based on my race. You can't even give me a law. Tell me a law that black people can't own land. Black people can't own guns. Black people can't do this. Black people can't do that. Name me a law that specifies me based on my race. If you can't do that, then you can't attribute the disparities to racism or sexism in that matter, actually. But I digress. Let's continue.
Good schools, good parents, good habits, and good communities would go much further toward alleviating poverty and expanding opportunity than a lifetime of racial justice movements.
And that's true, because if you look at the Asian community, literally, if you're a black person and you're watching this video, look at the Asian community. Look at their demographics and their decision making they make. They're more likely to be married. They go to college more often, right? They invest in tutoring, academics. They spend more time on homework than other groups of kids, and you're surprised why they usually come out smart. Why there's a stereotype of them being smart, being engineers, being in the financial sector, tech. You wonder why they run it, because they made decisions to get that outcome. And all I'm saying as a black man is saying, hey, if black people do the same damn thing, we should get a similar result. But no, y'all don't want to hear it though. Y'all think because y'all black, y'all somehow a different species or something. There's no white way of doing things. There's no black way of doing things. There's no Asian way of doing things. It's just a style, and everyone's capable of doing the style. But hey, I digress.
By the way, these rules apply to everyone, regardless of skin color. On climate change, conservatives have very little faith in computer models that have been inaccurately predicting disaster for nearly half a century.
That's crazy too. You have these coming, oh my God, if we go at this rate, we won't live in 50 years. There was a bet. There was a historical bet. And I don't remember. So let me guys know in the comment section if you know what I'm talking about. But there was a bet that a guy made that, hey, in the year 2000, we'll still be alive. Because like a couple, like 40 years ago, he made a call that if we don't do something about climate change, the mass starvation will happen. The world will be destroyed because it was 1 degree higher one season than the previous. And that's how every living thing does not stay constant. Life is not constant. Life is up and downs. So as a critical thinking person, I know, okay, seasons come and go all the time, right? We experience climate change on a regular. Spring, fall, winter, summer. Climate change. But, I'm supposed to be scared that it's 1 degree hotter than last year? What? And to me, that's why I'm unconvinced. But they're going to call you a science denier. But every time they give a prediction, it's wrong. We're going to die in 12 years. I go, I'll see you in 12 years because I know you're wrong. You've been proven wrong over and over and over again. If you have a theory and you test out in reality, and reality shows you your theory is wrong, no matter how much you want to believe in it. And this is why I'm tired of these people. They literally think what they imagine the world to be is what it is, instead of accepting the reality of the situation.
Conservatives have a lot of faith, however, in human ingenuity to overcome climate. What is air conditioning but a human adaptation to the environment? See Miami or Phoenix for further reference.
Thank God.
This is not to say we should simply do nothing. Nuclear power, for example, holds so much promise as a renewable and safe energy source. Conservatives don't understand why environmentalists oppose it.
Because all these environmentalists care about is, hey, we want to bring in socialism. We want to centralize all massive production to justify, hey, everything needs to be electric. Everything needs to be solar powered. Everything needs to be wind powered. And they know the only way they can do all that is through the government. They don't want people to make their own decision. Oh, I'm going to think about getting an electric car. Nah, I'm going to stick with my gas car. I'm going to stick with my gas power car. I don't want electric cars because electric cars are not there yet. No, you must do it. And they can't. Capitalism is not the way. They can't do it using capitalism. They'll have to use it using socialism. Hey, make the government demand it. Fine people if they don't do it. What's that? That sounds more authoritarian. I'll say, hey, let people decide with their money if they want electric or not. Just make sure you make your electric car the best product possible. Or you want the top-down government tell all these people to do electric because we need to save the planet. It's just a justification. It's just a justification to do what they really want to do. And this is why they oppose any alternative option. I believe there was a startup somewhere. I forgot what it is. They made a carbon filter for gas power cars. For oil rigs, where they put it up and it'll filter out the carbon emissions from it, and it's a cheaper option. I remember Trump was touting it. He said, "Hey, we should be using this. It's cheaper, and it'll make our gas production, our oil production, more renewable because not more renewable, but it'll prevent our carbon emissions. This is why we had it at zero for so long, or at least the lowest when we had Trump in office, because he was trying to push that into, hey, let's use these. It's cheaper. We don't have to do much spending. Like a practical businessman, he was like, hey, let's save our money. Hey, let's go with the cheaper, more effective option. Nah, Democrats don't want to hear it. Everything got to be electric. They want to go to the most expensive one. Green New Deal. Anyone? Y'all remember that? Green New Deal. But I digress. Let's continue.
It makes them skeptical and suspicious that the real agenda behind the environmentalist movement is not saving the planet, but giving more power to the government to control people's lives. On guns, we all want to live in a safe society. This is why firearms are regulated in every state. But we know bad guys will always find a way to get guns. See Chicago and Baltimore for further reference. That's why conservatives want guns, to protect themselves from the bad guys. It's not much more complicated than that. On tolerance, conservatives see tolerance as a two-way street. If someone demands to be addressed by certain pronouns and considers it intolerant if you don't comply, conservatives wonder why that isn't intolerant. Why are a conservative's moral or religious beliefs less worthy of respect than anyone else's?
Yep, that's been the question of the century. When conservatives have something they believe in, whatever, oh, that's not allowed. Muslims get treated better than Christians in this country. People won't dare question the Muslim faith. They won't dare mock it. Nothing. But Christians, what they do? Mock Jesus, put all this stuff on Jesus because we're tolerant. We're the real tolerant people. We tolerate you mocking our religion and all our stuff, and we don't retaliate. We don't do that. But they don't play around and do that with the Muslim people though, because they'll know they'll protest them. Hey, get up. And I think sometimes I believe Christians, we need to start doing that too. Christians need to start doing that too. We need to start fighting for respect for our religion. Because for too long we letting people make fun of our morals, our principles. But look at their lives, train wreck. I think they do it out of jealousy almost. Like they cannot understand how we're not fearful, how we're so content or happy in our lives. They can't understand that. They be like, yo, how can you be so happy? And they use it as a way to try to get under our skin. I don't know what it is. I'm just speculating at this point. But let's continue.
On authoritarianism. Whenever conservatives win political power, they're typically trying to cut taxes and regulations, make the government smaller, and bolster constitutional freedoms like that of speech and religion. That doesn't sound very authoritarian, does it?
But then people in my comment section, the negatiers, will come in and say, Republicans are for centralized government. I never said they weren't for centralized government. I'm just saying they wanted it very small and specific, very tailor-made. Hey, you don't touch the private sector at all, government. You don't provide healthcare for nobody, government. And if in return, that's why they cut taxes, because there'll be less need for money because the government is not responsible for certain things. Less responsibility for the government means less money needed for the government. That's why we cut taxes. That's why Republicans cut taxes, because they believe as the people, hey, you'll do better with the money than we will do better with the money. This is why everyone says government is the problem, not the solution. Because if you believe the government is the solution, you'll be for more taxes. If you don't believe the government is the solution, you're for less taxes. And it's all about resource allocation. Elon Musk made a perfect point. Who's better at managing resources, the government or a corporation? I'll wait. Because SpaceX created a reusable rocket. The government couldn't do that. And the government was spending almost 3, 4, 5 times the money that SpaceX was doing to get the same result. Why? Why is this relevant, Kenny? Because people who with their actual money have to create and use it, they'll know how to effectively use that resource better than a government that's only taking money and they didn't really have to work for it. This is why government makes less efficient, less effective action than a corporation. And this is why conservatives believe heavily in capitalism. That's why. Because me, with my $50, I know how to manage it better than the government. The government will be like, oh, here, buy these things. And I'm like, yo, I'm healthy. I don't need this. I don't need that. Like, they'll just wait. It's wasteful spending. But hey, I digress. But we're going to be the authoritarians. Oh, okay.
Progressive policy almost always raises taxes, expands regulations, increases the size of government, and now curtails free speech. To a conservative, that sounds authoritarian. Well, now that you've heard a few of their arguments, do you dislike conservatives less than you did before? Not even a little?
That was a good video. I believe this video should be something that Prager U, that should be like Prager U's trailer, like channel trailer. Because I really believe this is one of the most effective Prager U videos I believe that would work. Because a lot of the arguments they articulated in there, I hear it all the time in real life, on my comic section. This is the video that we need to show all the lefties here. And that should be, and it's sad to say that people have to make a video to articulate why they believe what they believe. People can't just give a common courtesy and being like, just like I believe in something, maybe they have a valid reason for believing what they're believing. I should respect them. No, in this political climate, it's, oh, you're evil if you disagree with me. And this video, it'll destroy all that, because at the end of the day, like I keep saying it, but it's true. What they want it to be and what is. That's what they struggle with. I want you to be this authoritarian, totalitarian fascist. This is what they want you to be. But what you really is, someone who just disagrees with them. Someone who just prioritizes different things than them. And it's craziness. And I don't believe people should be vilified just because they think differently than you. Whether you're a black liberal, black conservative, you shouldn't criticize another because they differ based on the path they believe the country should go. It's crazy. And it's sad that we even have to explain that. But I digress. Let me guys know what you think about this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.